Hello, I'm Michael from Prague, Czech Republic, and this is already my third video from the spaceport Baikonur, Turatam Baikonur to be exact. I really like the place where I made the camping this evening, and so I will use this place to talk as much as possible because it's a really cool place to spend night. This video will be a lot about politics and about space research and space politics. So if you are interested only in the Sun Trip 2018 rally, so please do not listen to this video because it will be of quite a little interest to you. Anyway, I am since childhood I am space geek. I am fan of space research, and reaching Baikonur spaceport on solar bicycle was a very important milestone for me, because of course solar power is basically space era technology. It's kind of high tech which we have around for about 50 or 60 years, but only recently it's possible. It was possible that this technology was mass produced and got into hands of ordinary travelers like me. So here on the horizon we have the ground control center of the Baikonur spaceport. Well, it's a restricted area, of course, in typical Russian style, but well, there is nothing I can do about it, and I am glad that I was able to get at least that close to it. Well, I will get in fact a little bit closer to the road you see on the horizon, because I will take this road to the right, to the east, to continue all the way to China. So now, what's interesting about the Baikonur spaceport? Well, of course, you have heard about the great successes in the 50s and 60s. Of course, эти большое достижения советской науки, техники, Gagarin, and all this stuff. Yes, well, but the really interesting is the politics behind it, because in a short period in 50s and 60s, Soviet Union was ruled by Ukrainian ruler called Nikita Khrushchev, who actually managed to, for a very brief period of time, like 5 or 10 years, he managed really that Soviet technology was a little bit ahead of Western technology. It took another great leader, John Kennedy, to accept that challenge, and finally the space race was won by United States by putting men on the moon. But this is all publicly known and not so much interesting. Well, more interesting is all the stories behind this space race. Well, the Baikonur spaceport was a place where Soviet Union attempted 4 times to launch one of the largest rockets ever built. It was intended to beat America in the space race and to put Soviet cosmonaut on the moon. But this project was underfunded, and it failed for many reasons, partly because of death of Sergei Korolev, the genius general designer of Soviet-Russian space system of that era, and this rocket was launched 4 times from Steppe. It was assembled in Steppe because it was too big to put on the train, so they assembled it from smaller pieces. Just here in the Baikonur, well, we don't see the modern part of the city. This is Turatam on the horizon, this Kazakh town, or more like a big Kazakh village. But behind it, when you see the antenna pole, there is the city of Baikonur with some industrial base, and there is a railroad running to the spaceport, and the spaceport is really huge. It's like 100 kilometers to the north and 60 kilometers to the left and 60 kilometers to the right. And well, this huge explosions in the steppe and just the end of political support for Soviet space program, and they were boasting their successes from 60s for another 20 years, but they really did not much new since that, and in fact they do not much new even now. They are underfunded and they have some good ideas, but they don't have funds to really make the hardware and make it flying. So it's ironic that this country, which is so much, well, not here the steppe is green, but not far from here the landscape really resembles Mars, and it's ironic that most of the launches of probes heading to Mars from Russia were failures, because this site is very successful as a human space flight center, but not so much successful when launching probes to Mars, which is kind of a curse. It's hard to explain logically why all Russian probes to Mars tend to fail. Anyway, I promised to talk a little bit about politics. Well, back to solar bicycles. Space era technology put into hands of everyday backpackers, travelers, and used to explore our own planet instead of distant worlds. But of course, the idea of renewable resources has huge economical and political impact. I'm not sure that just pouring money into it to subsidize the solar power is the way to go to the future. But when we reach the point where we are already reaching the point when there will be no more subsidies to solar energy needed. Well, the system I've put on my bike is pretty cheap. Well, what's great about using solar power for traveling is that you avoid taxation. This is usually ecology is considered a kind of left-wing ideology. It's considered to be based on ideas that government should subsidize the alternatives to fossil fuels to save the planet and so on. But the fun thing is that there is a really libertarian dimension to renewable resources, and it was always there with the sailing on the seas, with the early capitalist use of windmills and water wheels. There was always way how economy and free market took advantage of renewable resources if there were any available, and really I'm not paying well, here in Kazakhstan, of course, the oil is pretty cheap. Even in Russia it is cheap. This is why so many bikers travel to Russia and Kazakhstan, because first of all you have huge distances to ride your motorcycle freely, and of course the gasoline is pretty cheap here. So well, this is just like poor man's road movie landscape, and but with the solar energy it is still cheaper, and in Europe I do not pay any taxes from this solar energy. So well, the solar, it's hard for for unsubsidized solar energy to compete with electricity from the grid, but it's pretty easy to compete with the prices of gasoline gasoline, petrol, which are subject to huge consumer taxes. So we are like playing both. We are playing both sides here. We are on the one side, yes, we are like idealists who want to stop global warming by avoiding burning fossil fuels, but also we don't need so much motorways, so much government, because we don't want to pay, of course, because we are getting our energy for free, and there is all new style of the economy emerging, which is connecting directly the small places and bypassing the huge traffic hubs. I think it will be even more with solar planes, because solar planes would be very lightweight, and they would slow down the traffic on existing airfields which are optimized for huge jet planes. Solar planes would connect small places directly, and they can be a big game changer in tourist industry, in travel industry. Well, we can see pretty exciting 21st century if we can avoid wars and avoid technological singularity, and avoid corporate dominance and Russian dominance. Well, I don't differentiate much if we are like ruled by corporation or if we are ruled by Russians. We just need peace and freedom, and freedom to travel, of course. But as for space travel, of course, you need lot of money for space travel. You need some politics to pour money into space travel, and then that is where it's getting complicated. I am pretty amazed about what Elon Musk is doing in this field, like combining the electric car revolution with reusable space rocket revolution. Well, it's really the only science fiction which is going on just now. And well, this is the Baikonur is a really good place to talk about science fiction and about the future which never was, and about the possible other futures we may try to invent and to make happen. I was in my previous videos I was already mentioning all the types of science fiction, all the great science fiction novels. This place reminds me of also it reminds me of Kerbal Space Program computer game, because this ground control center is so much Kerbal Space Program. This endless flat field with the antennas. It's like directly a screenshot from the game. Well, anyway, I think that the younger generation knows more about history of planet Lothal than about real history of Cold War and about Russian space program and in the 50s and 60s, and about all this great successes and failures, and I think that in steppe it is where the Russian police state basically failed, because steppes are made for freedom, for nomads who are free to roam the distance of the steppe in all directions. And it's not like when they put you in prison camp in Siberia, where you are just simply forced to stay because you would freeze in the outside in the taiga and tundra. In steppe there is little water, but people somehow learn to help each other and to trade and to communicate. Well, the Silk Road is a symbol of not being restricted by borders. It's a symbol of crossing borders, of traveling long distance, and Baikonur as a site on the Silk Road, the ancient Silk Road, is a kind of continuation of this road up to the stars. I really don't have any more ideas to say about it now, but I will now pack my tent and continue traveling to China. By next time I hope to reach this place with my future ultralight solar plane, I hope, and also many other places, of course. Single traveling is one of the things which gave meaning to life, because without traveling, we would just sit at home, watch TV, watch completely fictional stories about other people's fictional lives on TV, and we would also watch fictional politics, fictional stories, kind of infotainment stories on politics, which are really not related to everyday life and are only designed to distract our attention. So I would encourage everyone to travel. Of course, you may end up traveling to junkyard like this. Oh, and I think this barbed wire is a really good symbol of what was going on in Soviet Russia during Stalin era. Well, barbed wire was invented in America in Wild West, but this invention was really enthusiastically accepted by police states and imperial governments all over the world. So we can finish this video with this rustling barbed wire at Baikonur spaceport. So subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to hear more from me on my way from France to China. See you.